My name is Ayla, and today in this video I am going to be talking about everything you'll need to know before you start incubating your own eggs. Now, there is a lot of things that you need to kind of have known before you even put the eggs in the incubator. I'm going to start off by giving a little background about myself and the eggs I've incubated in the past and how I did it and all the tips and all the little tricks that you didn't really know about before. I have been incubating eggs since I was 12 years old. I begged my parents to let me buy an incubator and got some chicken eggs from my auntie and incubated them. That's where it all started. Definitely not where it's ended, because currently there is still eggs in my incubator right now. I have incubated quite a lot of eggs. I have done chickens, all sorts of breeds. I've done my little fluffy, silky chickens, or the big laying chickens. My personal favourite is Aracanas. Lavender Aracanas, beautiful. And I have not just done chickens, I have done quails, I have done ducks, I have done golden pheasant. If you don't know what golden pheasants look like, I will insert an image here. They are beautiful, beautiful birds. And I have also done blackbirds. I've raised a blackbird. I've done mini quails, especially. I incubated some and then I kept them, and then they ended up laying their own eggs, and I would incubate those, and I would sell my own fertilized eggs in good condition. If you want to know how to house them, I can do another video on that. If you're wanting to sell eggs or ship them, or even just store them, I can do another video, because I have done plenty of that. Back to quail eggs. There is a lot of difference between incubating certain types of eggs. You have your duck, you have your chicken, you have your game birds, you have your little birds. It all ranges. It's not you just put them in the incubator and leave. Wow. Some incubators you can do that, which is what I'm going to get into next, which is incubator brands and how to work them, how to get them to the best they could be to contain the health of your birds inside your eggs. So before you even put your eggs in the incubator, you want to get a good incubator. Now, I have had many incubators. I've had about 4 or 5 incubators now, starting from the cheapest one, which was like $100, $110, to my one I have now, which was like $550. So brands I would recommend is Brinzy, because that is the incubator I have now, and yes, they are quite expensive, but trust me when I say it is just barely have to do anything. You can just leave it, set it, and it does it all for you, because some incubators do not regulate the heat or humidity properly, which can lead to chicks not hatching or your alarm going off because there's too much humidity or not enough. I had an incubator that the alarm would go off all the time because the temperature was too low, because there was too much airflow. It was the incubators where you would have to have a squirty bottle of water, which you would squirt into the incubator, into the little hole it has at the bottom, squirt it in to get the humidity, but that is where all the air was just releasing out of it. It was not containing the heat, and the humidity was never calculated correctly, because you're just squirting in some water and it's not accurate, and you could put too much in and your humidity could go right up. And humidity is moisture, and moisture, too much of it, can drown the chicks inside of the eggs before they even hatch or during hatching. Right, so incubators, please get a good incubator. Even Brinzy, I know they're expensive, but they have more cheap options. Like, I will insert an image here if I can find a good suitable incubator for a good price of Brinzy, because trust me, it's just like a breeze. It's so much easier. You can just sit back, it does it for you, it regulates. I love it. Also, Janol, I'll I'll double check that, don't quote me on that, but that is another brand I quite like. I have the Janelle 48, which is yay big, quite big. It contains quite a lot of eggs, so good for doing a big amount. But the one thing about that incubator is the air escapes still, because it's a squirt one. You have your water, you squirt in, and then that's your water, that's your humidity. The air escapes, but I found a trick where it doesn't do that as much. So what I did is I would very much recommend this if you're going to get that kind of incubator, is you can stuff the airflow with a tissue or like a earbud or something, so that there is no air coming out of the water holes, because already airflow knob at the top, which is all you need. The bits down the bottom releases so much temperature and it can fluctuate. So in the middle you could have eggs that hatch perfectly, and on the side these eggs just do not hatch, and that's because it's uneven temperatures in the incubator. Another thing I would highly recommend with an incubator that is not as trusted, not an as trusted brand, is get your own temperature humidity gauge. You can get little ones probably from like Amazon. You can get them anywhere really, and it is a lifesaver. Even a watch that reads the temperature, honestly. Sometimes the gauge that reads it on the incubator is not accurate. So for reassurance and to double check, especially humidity, because I have figured in lots of incubators it'll say like 50% humidity, which is what you want. That's good. And my temperature gauge would say 68, which is too high, way too high. So I definitely recommend that, because that can affect the hatch rate drastically. Right, another thing with the Brinzy incubator is that I will show you mine. It turns, it rotates the eggs. You can get it in the settings and it'll rotate the eggs every however long you want. Usually you should rotate your eggs every between 45 minutes to 2 hours, 2-3 hours. At least 3 times a day you should be turning your eggs. So my incubator goes every 45 minutes. It'll rotate the eggs, turns them over, which is very important, because in nature the mother hen will push her eggs under and rotate them, and that stimulates the chicken side so that it does not stick to the side. It doesn't get stuck in one side of the egg, because if you're turning it, it can move around a bit, and if you're leaving it, it's just going to get stuck. No, try and invest in an incubator where it turns the eggs for you, because if you're doing it by hand, it can get difficult to keep track and not frequent enough, because you do, like I have mine set for every 45 minutes, so that's way more than 3 times a day, which it's much better than just a few times a day. Now when it comes to incubating eggs and incubating different kinds of eggs, there is different time periods it takes for eggs to hatch. Like quail eggs take anywhere between 16 to 18 days. It should be 18, but I have had so many that hatch on the day 16. So with quail eggs, I'm going to talk about quail eggs first, and then I'll talk about chicken, duck, you know. With quail eggs, humidity should be in between 45 to 55%. It should stay between there for the best hatch rate. Much recommend that, because I have had hatches where I have had the humidity too high, and it basically drowned the eggs before they even hatched, and my hatch rate was terrible. So keep the humidity between 45 and 55% for the best success rate. We'll stop rotating your eggs at 3 days before they hatch, so on day 15, 18, so on day 14 to 15, because it can range between 16 and 18 on the hatch day. 3 days before they're supposed to hatch, you should take them out of the turning tray and raise the humidity. very important to raise the humidity because that moistens it up, which helps the chicks break the shell because there is more moisture. But not too high so you drown them. What I recommend is between 55 to 65 is where your humidity should be on the last 3 days of your chicks hatching, especially quails. This is for quails. Now for chicken eggs, it's pretty much the same, but chicken eggs take 21 days to hatch. So 3 days before the 21-day mark, you will take your chicken eggs out of the turning tray and lay them flat. Now, here is another tip that I highly recommend, is that you should put a mat down that will prevent your chicks from slipping. So something grippy, something not just cardboard or not just plastic. It has to be something that they can grip on, because their little feet, they can come out, instead of like their little 3 feet, 3 toes, they can come out like this, hatching like this, because that's how they are inside of the shell, inside of the egg. And if their surface is too slippery, they can't get a good grip to keep their feet straight, and that can prevent and getting a lot of chicks with hooked feet, which has happened to me in the past, which is why I'm telling you it is very important to have something grippy so that your chicks don't slip, and then they can get good grips so their feet can stay straight onto the ground and not hooked like this, because I have had to tape my feet, and I can do another video about how to fix that, because I have had chicks come out with hooked feet, and it's sad to watch, but I can fix that. I have done it in the past, and I can make a whole video about how to fix that if your chicks do stay like this. Right, so that's chicken eggs, is pretty much the same as quail, except chicken eggs take 21 days, quail take 16 to 18 days. Right, now on to duck eggs. I currently have duck eggs and 1 duck egg and 4 quail eggs in my incubator right now. Very weird amount. I picked them up on the side of the road, so they're incubating right now. But duck eggs are different because in nature, the mother duck will get off of her nest, go into the water for a swim, eat a bit, then come back to the nest. So by doing that in nature, what happens is when the mother gets off, the eggs will cool down and they get down to about room temperature, and then when the mother comes back, she sits on them, she's wet because she's just been in the water. So that is very important, because when you're doing it yourself, when you are incubating your duck eggs, what you'll need to do is at day 10, you will take your egg out of the incubator, you'll place them outside, somewhere nice, somewhere safe, not outside there, but on your carpet or in a little basket lined with like a blanket or something, somewhere safe where you can keep them next to your incubator. You take them out and you spray them with warm water, which is your moisture, which stimulates the mother sitting on her eggs after a day of swimming, you know. Now that is very important. Let your eggs rest somewhere safe until they reach room temperature. I'd recommend like 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but 5 minutes, 6 minutes, that's enough for them to just cool down a little bit, get to room temperature, but not be too cold. And then you will spray them with warm water, which means you're stimulating the mother duck, and that helps the hatching. That will increase your hatch rate a lot. If you don't do that, you can still hatch your eggs, but you have nowhere near the amount of a success if you cool your eggs down and spray them with water at least once a day, only once a day. You start that at day 10 and continue that to 3 days before they're hatching. You will take them out of their turning tray. You won't cool them off anymore. You leave them there and you'll raise the humidity to 60 to 68. A little bit higher humidity for duck eggs because they are waterfowl. They are around water all the time. Right, that's how you will do duck eggs. One breed of duck can take more than 28 days to hatch. If you are hatching Muscovy ducks, which I think I'm hatching right now. I actually don't know what's in my incubator. When you are hatching Muscovy, they take 35 days, not 28, 35. So they take a bit longer than most ducks. So be careful for that, because when you search up how long do duck eggs take to hatch, it'll say 28 days. But Muscovy take 35 days to hatch. So you will not take the eggs out before the 28-day mark, 3 days before. Then you'll take it out before the 35-day mark, which is when Muscovy duck eggs will hatch. Any other breed will take 28 days. So that is something you want to watch out for, because you can get it mixed up. And Google isn't helpful with that kind of thing. Right. Another thing I will talk about probably in another video is what to do when you're helping if your eggs aren't hatching. Do you help them? How can you help them? What do you do? How do you do it safely? And I know all about that. I understand how and when you can help your eggs and when you should not help your eggs, and knowing what to do before you start helping your eggs, because it is dangerous and you should be very careful when doing that, which I can make an entire other video. If anyone wants it, if I get a single comment saying that anybody wants to see a video of how or when or everything about helping your eggs if they're not hatching or if your eggs haven't hatched, then I can make a whole video about that, because it is a very technical thing to do and very dangerous, so be careful with that. Anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. This was my first video. Sorry if I mumbled. Let me know if you want any more videos or if you have any questions, because I'm happy to help and I love eggs. Been doing it for years. It's one of my favorite things. I love birds. So any questions, I will probably know them. So thank you for watching. Bye.